explain about something that's come to my attention. Two of the world's most expensive music notation softwares really fail at MusicXML. I created a guitar arrangement. I recorded that in Mixcraft, and I used Melodyne, which is inside of Mixcraft, to create a MIDI file of that. So then what I did was I took that MIDI file and I brought it into a notation software. I use GuitarPro. I use GuitarPro because it's easy. It's easy for me to understand. I also have Dorico, which is, I really got that for its engraving capabilities. I'm expecting to use this software to create some method books. It's just that I haven't really mastered it at this point in time. So I brought it into Dorico, and then lo and behold, disaster. So at first I thought, maybe GuitarPro is putting out a bad MusicXML file. I thought, well, let's try bringing that into some other softwares. I already have Finale, an older version of Finale on my system, so I brought it into Finale. Perfect. It did tell me that there was an error with a slur at one area, and so then I thought, well, let's see how some other softwares do. So I downloaded a trial version of Sibelius, and I got the full version of that, and I imported the MusicXML file into that. Just for good measure, I also tried this with MuseScore. And then just to be fair, what I did was I took the same MusicXML file and I brought that back into GuitarPro. And I'll show you what happened there. There was something unexpected that happened with that. So here we are in Dorico. Now I'm going to pretend that I know what I'm doing. What I'll try is File, Import, and I'm going to import MusicXML, and we're going to say open, and let's see what happens. All right, so actually what it does, it puts this first flow, as they call it, and then it puts this over here. It's got this in the wrong octave. It doesn't recognize this as being a guitar. Let's just hit the player, see what happens. And now I'm not hearing any sound. So I'm now on another computer, and what I found is there's a better way to bring in the files. If I go down, File, Import to MusicXML, by doing this from the start screen, it's going to bring this in the correct octave. There we go. So if I do this from inside of a session that's already open, it seems to put it an octave below. There is no tab, and there's also a big issue that I'm going to show you right now. So you can hear this is a piano, and coming up shortly is where the issue is, right now. Right there. And there also. So throughout the whole piece, this is messed up. What it's done is it's taken apart a chord and separated the notes, and it's all messed up. So I would have to basically go through and edit everything to make it correct, which in Dorico is not always easy, just because of the way it's structured. That's the first issue. The second issue, wonderful. Okay, now we've got everything correct. But the fact is that we still have this same issue with, it just separated this chord and completely messed everything up. All right, so that's Dorico. Right now we're in Finale, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this file, this XML file, and see what happens. So I'm just dragging and dropping, see if that's going to do the trick. There we go. Now it does say here, it says no matching end found for start of slur number 1 in measure 23. And if I look here, 23, measure 23 is over here. So maybe there was something in the original that caused that. My main concern here is that everything is in the correct, this is in the correct octave, and the tab notation is correct. So just so far scanning over this, it looks like it, and I'll play a little bit of this in a second. I just want to have a look here. There were some issues that I found in another software, so I'm just a little bit cautious here. All right, it did put the title down there. I'm not really sure how. Okay, maybe I can just drag that one up there. That's no big deal. So let's have a listen, see if it plays. Now, to me, that sounds like it's picked up a guitar, which is pretty interesting. Thumbs up to Finale. Now, here we are in GuitarPro. Now, this is the program that I got the file out of originally, so I'm going to see what happens when I try bringing this back in. So I'm going to drag this over, just drop it there. Comes in fine, and let's try and play this. Now, you might recognize that there's something wrong there. Everything comes in nicely, just the way it should do. But if you notice over here, it didn't interpret this as being a eighth note. It's put it as a quarter note. So I would have to change this. I would go to eighth note and then click on that and then okay, there we go. Now, incidentally, this is the area that got messed up in Dorico. That's what GuitarPro does with the XML file. So we're now in MuseScore. So what I'm going to do is take my sample file, and let's just see if I can drop it in there. Does that work? No, it doesn't like that. Oh, it does. Oh, done. Wow. And here we go. Look at this. It's in the correct octave. Somehow it recognized that that notation was guitar, I guess, and it looks like everything is. Let's see if it plays. Great. That is so wonderful. Now, one thing about this is that it sounds like it's playing in a different octave, and it's playing with a piano. I think we can forgive that. The important thing is it came in and it looks good. That is free software, MuseScore 3. Now we're in Sibelius, and what I'm going to try to do is to drop the same file. See if this works. I'm going to drop it into here. Okay, something's happening. Okay, now what it gives us, it says use page and staff size from MusicXML. Now what's actually happened is put me this on a different page. I'm going to just drag this over because on this computer I have a dual monitor. And this is what it's given us. So it looks like things are in the correct octave for guitar. But the weird thing is about this, there's no tab. Let's see if it plays. Okay, so that's the issue with this one. So I don't really know what to do with this, why it's like that and why it doesn't have the tab in there. But that is Sibelius. Here we are at NoteFlight. So I logged into my account and I just said create a new score. So I can either create from a blank sheet, or I can start by importing a XML file or a MIDI file. So I'm going to choose the file from here. All right, so here's my file, and I'm going to click on that one, say open, and you get some options in here. It says use original text positions. I'm just going to say okay on this one. Loading, and there we go. Okay, but what's happened up here, it's put this in a higher octave, which is kind of interesting. And the interesting thing I found about this, it's weird, because here you find some measures, these are actually in the correct octave, but it's put the rest of it up high. So this is kind of a mess, you know, it's a bit of a mess. So it's not totally unusable, but you know, you have to change the instruments, and you have to change the octaves and all that kind of stuff. So it's a bit of work. And finally, the MusicXML Championship. Now, the best to worst between Dorico, Finale, GuitarPro, MuseScore, NoteFlight, and Sibelius. In last place is Dorico. Now, the reason Dorico is in the last place is because it misinterprets notes and timing, and it just makes such a mess that it would be just too much effort to have to fix it all. The second worst is NoteFlight, because that randomly puts notes in the wrong octaves. Now it's fixable, but it's just extra work that you should not have to do. Sibelius did create good standard notation, but there was no tab. And GuitarPro loaded fast, and it did a good job of presenting the page, but it applied the wrong tempo. The best of these was Finale and MuseScore, which are the joint winners. These were the joint winners because they were correct with minor fixes. Now, if Dorico were able to get their act together, then this would actually be the best, because when it groups the beams of notes, it groups them in quarter notes, and it would have been the easiest to read, but unfortunately it just was not able to interpret the MusicXML file correctly. So that's it, and the winners are Finale and MuseScore. Well, I hope you found that interesting. Give it the thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And as I always say, stay tuned and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.